Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Reckless Speculation. We are doing our NFL Kickoff show, and we've got some things for you today. So we're going to go through the AFC North. Are they the best conference right now? What's going on there? Eagles, Cowboys, recap. We're going to get into it. It's just kind of a debacle. And my boy, CJ Stroud, what's he doing in the NFL? This is crazy. Best Ohio State quarterback by far that has come out of there. Josh Dobbs. Can anyone be Kirk Cousins on the Vikings? I mean, really? Let's talk about that. And then we've got our Reckless Speculation Power Rankings. We're going to break it all down for you. And we got your Bet Your Nuts, so stay tuned. But let's go ahead and introduce the cast here. We're going to start with someone who is on time, Mr. Raj Mehta. Raj, what's up, brother?
Nothing, dude. I thought I was 3 hours late. I'm still going on West Coast time, so I guess I fucked up in the right way.
Yeah, you did well for sure. Look at these graphics that Tom has put together. They're incredible. Speaking of that, let's bring him in, man. What's going on, Tom?
What's up, fellas? It's the least I can do to bring something to the show.
Dude, you're killing it. It gets better every day. If you guys don't follow us, you should. We're going to throw a little infomercial out there or something about it later, but like, subscribe, do all the things. Further ado, Robbie Davis.
Well, hello, gentlemen.
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, glad to be here. And what a NFL weekend we have coming up.
It's not a crazy docket, but we got some pretty good games to talk about here. So let's start with the division here in the AFC North. What's going on here? Is this just reckless speculation going on, or are these teams really that good? I mean, we're talking about the Browns, the Bengals, who've been great as of late. They're last in the division right now. The Steelers, which
What are they really? They're tied for second.
Right, tied for second, exactly. But then you got the Ravens, who are actually doing okay, but they're kind of quiet. Haven't made any big splashes. So let's go to you, Tom, first. What do you think about this AFC North division? What's going on here?
I think
is it
coming
just
into
a doubled mess?
Oh, I mean, I think the indication coming into the season was it wasn't going to be a very, very, competitive division. I think a lot of us thought that Cincinnati was going to probably be the leaders of the pack, but it's crazy. It's crazy to think that if the season was to end today, all four teams would be in the playoffs. And I think the one common theme with each team in that division really is defense. Even Cincinnati's defense is very strong. Baltimore's defense, number one in the NFL. Maybe top five. Cleveland's, I think, statistically is number one. And really, if the Steelers, their defense is what's keeping them afloat. Definitely not their offense, but it's wild. And the second half of this season, I think starting this week with Browns Ravens is going to be a dogfight. Who's got the better defense? So looking at it, yes, statistically, Cincinnati's in fourth place, but I think they have the most upside at the moment with a healthy Joe Burrow, although Jamar Chase has got a back issue, but T. Higgins has been on fire. Joe Mixon's Joe Mixon. But I think the key for them really is seems like Burrow's got that calf injury under wraps. So, but not to discredit what Baltimore's done, specifically with two of the top three teams in the NFC. They've pretty much dismantled them in my Detroit Lions, and then last week against Seattle. So quietly, they're having one hell of a season, and at home, I don't think there's a better team in the NFL. So clearly, it's the best conference right now in all of football. Will it stay that way? We'll see. But man, defense from top to bottom is fantastic.
I can't agree more. Defense has been a staple here in this conference for sure. I mean, you give me these teams in the start of the season, and there's no way all four are where they're at right now.
No.
So I'm going to segue into a question for Raj. Is Joe Burrow back? Like, has he gotten over that ankle injury? And now after that beating and against the Bills, where everyone had the Bills, like money line. I mean, Vegas had the Bills, and Joe Burrow just comes in nonchalant, Joe Shiesty, and throws it up, gets the dub. Like, where do they stand now? What do you think their potential is?
I think there's no question that one thing we've learned about Joey B is that he is streaky as hell. And when it's bad, it can be bad. But when it's good usually about 75% of the time. And, last year he won like nine in a row, something like that. They won from week 9 all the way through the 18th week. They had all wins. So 7 wins in a row. I think he's just, he's kind of like Georgia and Alabama in college football with a new quarterback, just hangs around here and there until everybody starts developing and getting better and better and better. And then there's no better leader at quarterback in today's NFL than Joey Burrow.
Well said, dude. Well said. Rob, different question for you. Somewhat similar. Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson in this division? Like, who do you think can actually come out on top with a home field advantage in the playoffs?
Lamar Jackson by far. Like, I was looking at the schedules, and like, no one has an easy schedule, but look at Cincinnati. We've got Texans, which all of a sudden a little complicated. At Ravens, Steelers, at Jags, Colts, Vikings with Josh Dobbs, at Steelers, at Chiefs. I don't think I like that matchup. And Joe Burrow is a bit of a bum. And so if you give me anyone versus Joe Burrow, I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
I could have wrote this script for you before I asked you the question.
For people that don't know, I have a hatred for bum Joe Burrow because of fantasy 2 years ago, and Andy Dalton, and now Kirk Cousins. So,
yeah. So let's segue a little bit, and this is a question for all of you, real quick, rapid fire. Josh Dobbs coming in here, doing just as good, if not better, than Kirk Cousins. Is Kirk Cousins just a formality in this offense? And we'll go to you first, Robbie. You're raising your hand like a child with a wrong answer. So we'll go to you.
Yeah,
Josh Dobbs. It's plug and play here.
Well, yes, I think Minnesota is a little plug and play. I will say, as someone who watched Josh Dobbs all the way through college, he made Butch Jones $50 to $60 million. Butch Jones was a clown show. Joshua Dobbs cleaned up his mess. Joshua Dobbs is a brilliant guy who can quickly pick up offenses and play the game of football. He's no Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, but he is a very smart guy that can play football, and that's what the Vikings have with him now. They've got some talent. Give him time. He can be a middle of the road, back of the road quarterback. He's no savior, but he is a brilliant guy that can play football.
No, I agree. And I jumped ahead a little bit. Josh Dobbs was down the docket a little bit, but it just kind of segued into that question.
Yeah.
I really believe that too. I think Josh Dobbs, I mean, he's such a cerebral guy. He knows the game of football so well. Not the most athletic quarterback that you're going to see, but he's a game manager. And I've said this several times on this podcast, but like an Alex Smith, like somebody that that is super cerebral, that can just manage the game and get you through it and not turn it over. And that's what you want when you have, all stars around. Yeah, there you go. He's an aerospace engineer. This is his day job, and football is his secondary job. So you get a guy like this who is that cerebral and is pretty athletic. Obviously, he can play football in the NFL, so it's got to be pretty athletic. So it's a plug and play for me with that offense as well, and we'll see how it goes. Justin Jefferson is off the IR. He's got 21 days to report eligible. I think it's going to happen next week. Hopefully, he's on my fantasy team. God willing, I hope to God he comes back. That was my first overall pick, and it's killing me right now. But I digress. We're going to move on.
Hey,
Let's
real
talk
quick,
about this.
Can I
go
just
ahead.
quickly on that? It's kind of to me like a rookie pitcher who got hit hard in AA, but in the majors, where everybody sees fastballs and they're used to fastballs. This kid's got a curveball that you've never seen before. And the first time you see it, you're going to whiff on it and be like completely like, what the hell was that? But pretty soon you're going to adjust and you're going to be able to hit that kid. And case in point, Dobbs had 7. Nobody knew what the hell. Minnesota didn't know what it would look like. And you got a ton of weapons on that team. And he came out there, and for a smart guy who's way more mobile, I mean, he had 66 yards on the ground. Cousins had 25 yards all year. So I don't think it's quite plug and play. I mean, we're going to truly see how effective he is in the next few weeks. As teams will be able to no film, nothing. And when you're expecting Minnesota, the last thing you expect is a quarterback taking off on you. So I do think it was a nice change of pace. I do think he can do well with those weapons, but I wouldn't call it plug and play.
Well, and not being a Dobbs homer, but the vice versa is true, right? Like, so he came out there, he didn't know his receiver's name.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah.
That's insane. Like
the offensive lineman didn't even know his cadence. He taught him his cadence right before he went in the game.
Yeah. So what does that say about Tom? What does it say about the Falcons?
Oh, you mean Arthur Smith, whose father's a $5.8 billion FedEx creator? It says they're in a lot of trouble. And Arthur Smith will be looking for a new job here.
He used to be the OC for the Titans, and we loved him, but he's almost fallen into that Josh McDaniel role of maybe you're better as an OC than you are as a head coach.
For sure, dude. Like there's so much transparency there with coaches that try to get a little too big, for their shoes, and everyone wants to chase that head coaching job, right? It just doesn't always work out. And Arthur Smith is unfortunately going to fall to the fold as one of those people. But again, bringing in a kid like Josh Dobbs, it's just phenomenal. Like, I mean, dude's so cerebral. Like, to learn and run through that offense like he did, that was incredible.
Well, really quick, McConnell, the coach of the Vikings, was on Pat McAfee's show earlier this week and basically said that he called the play. So he's in his ear, like, okay, here's the play, blah, 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 tell it to the other guys. But as he broke huddle, McConnell's like, so the guy on the left, he's running a post route. The tight end's going to do a seam route. So he basically dummied down the offense to, he would understand because really he got there Tuesday. The game was Sunday. So, but nonetheless, he orchestrated a comeback win. And I think a lot of plays started with, like Robbie said, he had 66 yards rushing, including a touchdown. So I think it started with that and made it a little bit easier.
What Joshua Dobbs has made himself is $100 million in career earnings, being a journeyman backup in the NFL.
A very smart man. Yep.
A journeyman backup in the NFL is a hell of a job.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Let's, just if you're kids, all the kids listening right now, if you don't make it as a starter, being a backup is just okay.
Yeah. Just understand the craft. Yeah. Understand the craft.
Let's get away from Dobbs and the AFC North, and let's talk about the Eagles Cowboys recap. This was a game I think some of us thought we had pegged. The Cowboys felt like they were on a roll. Eagles, they're hit or miss. And let's go to you first, Tom. What do you think of this game recap here, and where does Dallas stand now?
I think right now it was probably at this point was probably the game of the year. And I think that Dallas loses because Dak Prescott and the offensive line basically gave up some really bad sacks in that last possession. They get the ball back. They drive down. They're in the red zone. And then they get pushed way back, a couple bad sacks. But I just think when it mattered most, Dak failed. And that's kind of been his MO, his career. 3.5 quarters, he's brilliant. But when they need him to just punch that ball in and go as far as stepping out of bounds, going in for a 2-point conversion, I mean, you have to be aware where you're at on the field. And the last play of the game, he throws it 4 yards short of the goal line. That ball has to go beyond, and every route has to go beyond the goal line. You're not going to get an underneath route and have the Eagles not make that stop. So I think it was a combination of just bad call playing and Dak Prescott. But I think you're right. I think Philly is probably the most fraudulent 7-1 team that we've seen. They've been playing with fire. There's a left knee injury that Jalen Hurts is dealing with that he does not want to talk about. The Eagles don't want to talk about, but it is affecting his ability to scramble and the way he throws. So I think that's going to come into play here sooner or later. And fast forward to the schedule that they have remaining. They've got a juggernaut. Yeah. And it wouldn't shock me if, based upon that schedule alone, the rematch of this game could be for the NFC East. So by no means, I don't think Dallas is out of it yet, based on the scheduling. But I mean, it was a classic. It was a classic Eagles-Cowboys matchup. The fans were fired up, and I expect nothing less for the rematch. But I'm not sold on the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree there. Dak he's almost transparent at this point. Like, he always has these games every year where big stage, big lights, and somehow he just can't get it done. And, The Eagles, like you said, they're kind of somewhat of a mirror image of their old self. Like they don't look near the team they were last year, and they're playing that card and they're winning games. But again, it's against like a bad Cowboys team, and that's sake. Raj, what do you think about the Cowboys? Are they done in the East, or you think they can make a run here?
I think Tom's right. I mean, one thing about that game is if you're an NFL fan, the players made plays, the right players. CD with 200, Dak throws 3 TDs, Hurts. It had all the drama, getting hurt, still running for a TD, throwing 2. AJ, Devonta, both had TDs. Like all the marquee guys, if you'd write a script, it showed. There was 1 turnover, and each team had 10 penalties, so it wasn't the cleanest game. But no, that's why I thought it was a pretty sensational game. But I think just like Philly and their defense, by the way, which is 4th to last in passing yards allowed, and when it comes to points, let's put it this way, the Raiders defense allows less points per game than Philly, which is all you need to say. They're definitely transparent. Like you said, you can kind of, what you see is what you get, and they're kind of fooling people. But when it comes to the Cowboys, I see a very winnable schedule. You got the Giants, Panthers, Washington, that's 3 wins next week. Seattle at home, 4 wins. Philly at home, I think 5 wins. They can win that game. At Buffalo, at Miami, Detroit, at Washington. So not the easiest thing, but I see 6 wins there.
Look at the Eagles' schedule. Look at what the Eagles have to go up against.
Yeah, absolutely. And the question is, 11 wins in the NFC, does that get you in? It fucking better. So at least I think they get in and get, a pretty high seed.
Yeah, Eagles are Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks, Giants, Cardinals. They've got a little bit of a gauntlet too. Yeah. It's
it could come down to the last 2 weeks of the season, who comes out of that division.
So yeah, Robbie, we all agree it's definitely going to be between those two in that division. Who's your favorite right now
in the NFC?
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I'd like the Lions, I still think it's the Eagles. That tough schedule you guys talked about. But to beat the champs, you got to knock out the champs. And I'm not sure anyone's knocking out the champs just yet. I don't trust anyone in the NFC East. I do trust the Lions, but I just don't know if they can win enough. Take out the Eagles. So I think the road to the Super Bowl goes to Philly.
I don't disagree. I actually, out of this whole conference, I trust the Lions more, which is crazy to say. They're more just
and they're healthy,
like steady, just a more steady, predictable team for the most part than, the Cowboys and Eagles. It's like the Lions and Bears and like, oh my, like you just don't know what's going on.
Well, what's crazy is if the Lions go to the Super Bowl, it's just a couple of bounces away from the Lions winning the goddamn Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, that would be his dream day. But one thing about Detroit, the other teams, they've been on the stage, they've been in the spotlight, and I'm a firm believer if you have to pay your dues, you got to get there. And a couple of weeks ago, Detroit went into Baltimore, a marquee matchup, game of the week, and to say they laid an egg would be beyond an understatement.
They did.
It showed me they were not ready for that. Now, granted, at Baltimore is about as tough as it gets, no doubt, but they just got smashed. Before they got their first down, Baltimore scored 4 TDs.
Lions schedule's easy though.
To me more, although they have the best offensive line, etc. When the lights are shining and everybody's watching you, Dallas is used to that. Philly is used to that. Detroit has a lot to prove.
No, I don't disagree with you, Raj, but in game, like in season game, like when you're playing week to week, blah blah blah, when you have normal preparation time, right? You get this in the NFL. You get these teams that are supposed to dominate, blah blah blah, and they hiccup. It's the NFL, right? Like you see that day in and day
Humble
out.
pie. Humble pie.
Now,
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. Exactly right. These are all professional athletes. These are all NFL players. They go to work the same way, and they are there to win. But it's just a game, right? Just one game. And eventually, as the season goes on, it starts to squeeze and close down, and people get a little bit more amped up or focused, I guess. And you see that especially when you give any good coach preparation, 2 weeks, whatever it be, coaches win. They just do. I mean, that just is what happens. So there's a lot of back and forth in NFL. So it's really hard to predict, obviously. That's what makes it fun. And that's why we throw out our bet your nuts and hope everyone makes a little bit of money. But
I will say that on these, like whether it's reality show, quarterback, or Hard Knocks, whatever, it really is like these coaches really are. It is just 1 week at a time. Like it's not coach speak. Like they really do just focus 1 week
it's
at
just
a time.
one week. Like it's not like college. Like when you lose in a conference, and like it could be detrimental to your entire season. This is NFL. Like 1 week loss, like who cares? Who cares who you lost to? It doesn't matter if it's the 0-4.
It's almost a freakishly
Browns.
focus that they have.
Yeah, it's completely insane because the 0-4 Browns could beat the 7-2.
Well, it's like Brandon.
Lions
Could you
or
imagine
whatever.
just being like, "Oh, I have to build this one house or this one job," and not thinking you can't even let your mind veer to the next job? Like that's insane. Like,
Hey, that's why I'm cost plus. So that sells all that. But anyway, I'm just kidding. We digress. Let's move on real quick. I know we've bounced around on Tom did this whole nice lineup here, and I'm a bad host. I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm going to try to stay in form. So we went AFC North, Cowboy. Now we're going to talk about my boy CJ Stroud. Let's go. Not possibly, but he is the best quarterback that's ever come out of Ohio State. We don't make Ohio State, let's be honest, we do not make quarterbacks that translate to the NFL. I mean, Troy Smith might have been our best specimen, and he wasn't that great in the NFL. So we thought we had a lot of hype in Justin Fields, and that's kind of down the wayside, especially after this performance. 30 for 42, 470 yards, 5 TDs. If you had him on your fantasy team, I think you scored 80 points alone with CJ Stroud.
The guy in my league had him on his bench, and he's the namesake of his team. Had him on the bench.
Oh my God! Just what an incredible performance.
Hey, can we call that guy?
What a comeback!
Can we call him right now?
Oh,
Tom,
and he's a Ohio State slappy.
Tom, let's call him. Call him.
No, that's not.
So a question to you. I'll go to you first, Robbie. From the typical Ohio State quarterback, we've seen all these, they're going to do so well in transition to NFL, and they haven't. Is CJ Stroud the real deal?
Yes, I think he is. And also, like, I want to forever put to bed these stupid NFL tests about, like, these, whatever, if a train leaves Missouri at one time, they're going to leave, LA at one time, whenever they meet. That has nothing to do with playing football. And it's so stupid. Watch CJ Stroud play against Georgia. The same Eagles team that has drafted every Georgia lineman they can find because they realize they can play football. CJ Stroud lit them up in a bowl game. That's all you need to know. At his best, CJ Stroud, okay, I get it. Throw away half the Big Ten. It's not NFL caliber. But they played against Georgia, who won the national championship. CJ Stroud lit them up. And they came very close to beating them. And you're going to say, oh, I question his NFL skills. That's just idiotic. So stop with this nonsense of this whatever metric and whatever. I can't. What's the test called? The
Wonderlic.
The Wonderlic.
Yeah. Stop this
No,
Wonderlic
it's
test.
not the Wonderlic. There's a new test that they did.
Yeah, whatever it is, just watch film.
Wonderlic was the old one, and
just do the play football test. CJ Stroud could play football, and I'm upset he's in the Titans division.
Yeah, you guys are screwed for a decade at least.
I know. Let's segue that. Raj, you continue on thoughts on that, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, to show you the bullshit about those tests. Supposedly, they're supposed to mimic decision making and quick decision making. A lot of that in the NFL. CJ Stroud has 14 TDs to 1 interception. He's only been sacked 18 times, which I thought, well, maybe he's not throwing picks because he's taking sacks. To give you an idea, Sam Howell has been sacked 44 times. So it's not that. He was named a captain straight out of camp for a rookie quarterback, which doesn't happen as much as people think. So when it comes to leadership and decision making and just everything, every throw he can make, Rancho Cucamonga's finest, CJ Stroud, is the epitome of a franchise quarterback. He's sensational. And I'm eating crow to some extent on that. But, I associated team with player when he was in college. And I didn't look at the player enough. And that kid is a player.
If I could jump in real quick, Brandon.
Yeah.
Here's something that kind of goes unnoticed with CJ Stroud. He was thrown in at a young age to be the man of the family. His father was incarcerated at a very young age. So he developed leadership skills very young. And I really believe that he's carried that moniker throughout his, football career. And I really believe one thing that he gets kind of, looked at in a negative light. He's quiet. He's a quiet leader. We don't know what goes on in that locker room. Clearly, he's a leader of men to wear that C on his chest. But I really think the adolescent development at a young age has kind of prepared him to where he is today. That gets unnoticed. And I'm telling you, as he's fun to watch. And I can't recall seeing a quarterback look so comfortable in the NFL, making high pressure throws. 46 seconds he had, and he marched that team down, and they won the game. Incredible. And kudos to that kid. He's got a hell of a career ahead of him.
They're 4-4 with 2 losses by 2 points. I mean, they easily could be 6-2 with a rookie quarterback and a team that won 1 or 2 games last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say Texans fleeced the draft. First off,
they did.
they tricked everybody. It was unbelievable.
Great
best
coach,
draft
too.
I've seen in quite some time. But CJ Stroud, not to be a homer or anything here. No, good kid. I did not see this potential coming out in the NFL just because I've been disappointed so many times with these systematic quarterbacks at Ohio State that are blah blah blah. They're going to be great in the NFL. Hadn't transitioned. He's the real deal, and to your point, Tom, as far as the leadership thing, he invites his entire offensive line and receivers and running backs to dinner at least once a week at his house, at his place where he stays, where he lives. Come over, like, I'm buying, like, let's go. And one of the things I saw that he said, he was like, I don't get respect. It has to be earned, and the captain has to be earned. And it is for sure. He totally gets it. So kudos to him. I can go down a Buckeye spiral here real quick. So we're going to move on.
Well, as a Michigan fan, I respect the hell out of that kid, and I'm rooting hard for him.
Before we move on, Brandon, what they're doing with CJ Stroud is what they did with Jalen Hurts. The owner said, "Hey, I'm right. Even if you're a Super Bowl coach, we're moving you out. Like, we're gonna build our offense around this guy." And that's what they did with Jalen Hurts. And like they said,
you're exactly right, dude. Yeah. And when you believe in something like that and that much and somebody, it shows. And both of them, Hurts and Stroud.
Yeah.
I mean, two phenomenal people, leaders, and can do everything they want in this league. So.
And sometimes it takes old white men, oddly enough, to show young white men the door and say, "Hey, these people are the future."
Oh, for sure, for sure. All right, so we're not too far in here. Let's see, we've hit most of the topics. Let's go to the power rankings. So let's look at what we think as the top 5 teams in the NFL right now. We'll start with you, Tom.
Well, here's the overall based on record here. You got the Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, and Jaguars. And really mine's going to kind of mimic that in a sense. I think the Ravens right now look like the best team in the NFL. Very complete. Lamar is really making plays, surprisingly enough, with his arm. He's only second hand using his legs, which shows me his development as a quarterback really has been pretty phenomenal. So I think they're number one. I Eagles, because 8-1, ahead of in the NFC, they're winning games right now. I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think that's going to last. But I'm going to go the Lions, number 3. Big game this week against the Chargers. They're healthy, and I think if you can get a performance like Jahmyr Gibbs gave you 2 weeks ago on Monday night, that's a scary combination. Chiefs at number 4. I'm not buying the Chiefs hype. They're squeaking by. The Dolphins, for as bad as they played last week and how bad they shot themselves in the foot, they should have won that game. Kansas City had a nice first quarter. That was it. And then I like where Jacksonville's at. I really do. I want to see them tested a little bit more. But ever since they got back from London, or they went to London, they haven't lost. This is a different team. So it's kind of a weak division. Will that hurt them? Same way it could possibly hurt the Lions with them being in a weaker division. But as it stands right now, I like how they're playing. So Ravens, Eagles, Lions, Chiefs, and Jags. So it's fluid. I'm sure that'll change week to week.
Oh, yeah. It's the NFL. Always does. Raj, who you got for your top 5?
I know my top 3, and that right now is Baltimore at number 1. I'm going with Kansas City at number 2 due to less holes, especially on defense, compared to my number 3 team, which is Philadelphia. 4, I have to go with Jacksonville. The reason being is amongst Jacksonville, Detroit, Buffalo, and Miami, Jacksonville has 3 wins over teams with winning records. Detroit, Buffalo, and Miami each only have 1. I would have put Detroit here if not for what happened on that one night. Because that was just one game, and they are very well balanced, I am putting Detroit at number 5 ahead of Miami and Buffalo.
Well, Buffalo's not even in the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, but it's still there. You know, the base is still there. The guys are still there. The dudes are.
Sure.
You know, and they're in an easy division. Not easy, but, you know, you got 2 teams that you should beat 4 times, you know, 4 wins each year. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Robbie, same question. Who's your top 5?
I was wishing you weren't going to ask me this. Man.
Breaking news.
This is like when you're sitting there being like, please don't ask me this question.
Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle.
Necessary.
All
Hey,
right.
this is just this week. Like, it's going to be fluid.
I know.
All of ours are going to change next week.
All right. I'm going Philly
Guaranteed.
number 1. Baltimore 2. And I hate this question. I am going Miami 3. I'm going Detroit 4. I cannot tell you how much I hate that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are dating because they are really screwing up my fantasy life at the moment. So without them, I'm going Cincinnati as number 5. Seattle or Kansas City is screwed. He's going to Germany or South America.
He's going to Argentina this weekend.
Yeah, Argentina. I'm so pissed at this whole relationship. And I took him 2 overall, and this is what's happening.
You were so excited. You're a Travis Kelce fan and a Taylor Swift fan. And, you know, now finally, it's starting to get under your skin because it's been on mine since like the second time they showed her the whole game in Kansas City. So, anyways,
Brandon, your picks.
Yeah, my picks here. I'm gonna go Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Lions, Philly. That's 6, but it is what it is.
Sorry. Cincy, Miami, and then Philly.
No, I got Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Lions, Philly.
Lions are null or Philly's null and void, but
yeah, Philly's null and void. But I got Lions number 5. I do like what the Ravens are doing. They're silent, they're quiet, not a lot of noise in the media. They're just, you know, silently winning, and you know, maybe that's good for them right now. Chiefs, they've got all the weapons, everything. I don't like the Swifty thing. Kind of anytime that's a announcement pre-game, like I'm like, shit, they're gonna lose. Like,
what did he have?
The guy goes on his bye week unless he's dating Taylor Swift.
Well, no. So now we're starting to grade Taylor Swift there versus not there, and like what Kelsey's yards are versus her there.
It's a real thing, and
well, of course it is, and like it's a complete shit show, and like all these other antics and statistics we don't need. Please just stop. Just let us watch football. Like, I don't want Taylor Swift involved in football.
Yeah, I agree.
Go do your Airs tour. Don't you have to go to Germany or something? Like, leave the United States and do something else. Like, you're screwing up football.
I'm the
The
biggest
NFL
Stroud ever.
Travis
But
Kelce.
I don't want her in my NFL
She's
coverage.
screwing up the
Yeah,
greatest tight end ever.
Robbie, you say it all the time. It's about money, and the NFL fucking loves it. The
Oh
traffic,
yeah, oh yeah.
whenever she's on the TV,
Yes, they do.
triples.
Dude, they
Uh,
gain probably
12-year-olds are wearing
15% of their
jerseys.
15% gross in fans.
Well, I
just
sent on
because of
fan
wearing
text thing. Like they've got to be paying her $20 million appearance to be like, hey, come to the show, come to the game,
Oh, yeah,
and
dude.
I know.
I mean-
I almost feel like it's a signed contract.
There's
between
rumors that it's
NFL
just a
and Swift.
PR stunt.
Yeah,
but-
well, of course,
Well,
those rumors are going to.
She doesn't need the money, but
Whatever.
the NFL must be up to something. Either that
It's
or he has a
not-
fucking
hey.
12-inch dick. Oops, was that out loud?
Well, listen,
Something's going on, dude.
it's not his
After
or her
11.
fault. It's the public's fault and the media.
Oh yeah.
Just
But they're
drop
both
it.
getting exposure to entirely different audiences than they're used to. So it's
I
kind
know.
of crazy.
Whole different level
Like,
of fandom.
Rob is the only.
If it's all
Swift
real
fan I
and
know
good,
that has a
just
wiener.
let them have their personal life. Let her be a singer, let him be a football player, and just don't mix the two. Let's just watch football.
I can talk about this for hours.
I know. Anyway, all right, we're done with this. And-
Bet on nuts.
No, I got one question before we
Oh.
do bet your nuts. Let's say it's 4th and goal, and you're in the Super Bowl. You're down by 6. Who's the running back you're going to give the ball to?
Like ever or current?
From what yard line did you say?
Let's say it's 4th and goal, so yeah, 2-yard line, 1-yard line, something like that. Pick a running back currently. Who you giving the ball to?
Currently in the
Currently?
league.
Currently?
Currently in the league.
So that means not Jamal Williams, who just shits out
Yeah,
touchdown.
we're not doing like Jerome Bettis or
I'll go with Derrick Henry still.
Derrick
Yeah.
Henry. All right, Tom.
I like David Montgomery. I mean, he's already proven it. I think he's got 6 touchdowns and 3 or 4 of them are at the goal line. So he's, last year it would have been Jamal Williams. But
Can we go Jalen Hurts with a tush push?
Oh, well, that's
No,
true.
that's Kelsey, and he's the center, and he doesn't get credit for that.
And he's
that's all
retiring
him.
after this season, and that play is going to be illegal next year.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
it shouldn't be. How can that be illegal? You want to talk about sign stealing? We're telling you exactly where we're going,
Yeah.
and you can't stop.
Yeah,
it.
it can't
Well,
be illegal. We know
It's the number one topic in the owners meetings or the
but they know
competition
like,
committee.
Like it's like hey, I'm running triple option.
I will stop watching NFL if they ban that play. That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, Raj, who's your running back? You're on the 1 or 2 yard line currently. Who are you giving it to?
Some may be surprised, but this guy is a big guy that has not fumbled and just finds the end zone, and that's Baltimore's Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
Only
it's a good
he and Travis Etienne have not fumbled of guys that have over 100 carries and 7 or more TDs, and I trust him not to fumble or just to go straight up the middle, Jamal Williams style, unlike Etienne that could bounce outside, lose the game for you. So I'm going Big Gus.
Love it. I love it. I'm gonna pick outside the box here. Little small guy. He's a little fast though, and he squeezes in those holes. And he's also the best running back in the league. Give me Christian McCaffrey.
Oh,
Dude doesn't fumble.
Yeah.
And
Alvin
he
Kamara
makes
would be also a good pick.
he makes the 2 yard plays when they need him. And give me Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
all day.
that's a
Yeah,
good
Derrick
point.
Henry's the right choice there.
That's a good
No.
point.
No,
Probably you're right, Rob, but where's the fun in that? The guy's done it for 10 years.
Exactly. So we've gone through everything here. Now it's time for the famous.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
All right, we got 5 games here. We're gonna go Tom first because his beloved Lions versus Raj's not Chargers but Raiders. Robbie used to be kind of a Chargers fan. I think he lived in San Diego.
No, good God, no.
Yeah, you're one of those like random fans that showed up to the game wearing random colors.
I hate the Chargers with passion.
Me too.
Right.
I've got it up to 3 right now. It was 1.5 initially this game.
I think we picked it at 1.5. Lions Chargers 1.5 in SoFi. Tom, who you got here?
This is going to be Ford Field West. I'm expecting 50,000 Lion fans pouring into the SoFi Stadium. Here's one thing to look at: David Montgomery, Frank Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, healthy and playing. Huge get. Jonah Jackson's probably the best left guard in the NFL. Frank Ragnow's top 3 center. Not to mention the kind of power back ability with David Montgomery. I think that matters. Look for a lot of offense. I see a big game out of Jameson Williams, his coming out party. This number is ridiculous. Even if it's 3, I think it's ridiculous. Lions coming off a bye. This is a big game, statement game for the Lions on the road, where their only road loss really was bad against Baltimore. They recover. This has got a big win written all over it. Give me the Lions here.
No, I like it. Robbie?
I was very confident on Detroit until Tom was so confident on Detroit. So I think I'm going to take the Chargers in this one because, Tom's too confident.
I love it. I love the reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
Raj, throw some sense into these boys.
I'll tell you, man, this is the game I'm most excited for. But first of all, Tom's right. And don't take this the wrong way, Tom, but for about 30 years, Detroit was the biggest shithole, aside from Cleveland, in the country. Where did people move? They moved to where it's warm. Mm-hmm. There are hundreds of thousands of people in LA from Michigan and from Detroit.
Yep.
Plus, if you're going to pick a road game and the wife lets you go with your boys to one road game, you're either picking SoFi or Vegas, in all likelihood, maybe Miami. So Tom is right. There's going to be 65,000 Honolulu Blue. And for me, the coolest part about this is the best offensive line in football against arguably the best defensive line, at least when it comes to pass rushing, with my boy Tui from SC, Morgan Fox, Bosa, and Khalil Mack. That's 25 sacks amongst those 4 against the best OL in football.
Penei Sewell hasn't given up a sack yet this year.
Penei Sewell hasn't given up a sack since he was like 11. I'm going to take at 1.5. You got to give me the more balanced team in front of their home stadium, and that's Detroit.
Love it. I love it. I'm all over the lines here too. I mean,
you guys are dum-dums.
You know, the Chargers, they're like the Cowboys of the West Coast. Like I
hate the Chargers. They're the worst.
They do the same shit. Like they're supposed to be good. Herbert's supposed to be good, and then they just shit the bed every time. So there's no way that the Honolulu Blues losing this one.
We just like
1.5. Are you kidding me? I'd take them by 7. So give me the lines. All right, moving on. Let's go to you first, Raj. We're going 49ers, Jags.
Ooh,
It's in Jacksonville. 49ers. We're talking Christian McCaffrey. Possibly Debo. I think
Debo's
he might
back.
be back. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he's back this
Debo's
week.
back.
So, I mean, full arsenal. And our Mr. 299 irrelevant Brock Purdy against the Jags. And I mean, they're
That was Jags +4. Is that right?
3.
+3.
+3.
Yeah, normally with a home team getting 3 points, you take that home team. Yeah, they have wins against 3 teams with winning records, but the Niners are the Niners, and you give that team warm weather with McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, and now the difference maker in Debo, then I don't know how you pick against, even though they've lost 3 in a row, San Francisco. The proof is in the pudding. I think it's going to be a reality check for Jacksonville, which probably means the Jags will win by 40 when I say it, but give me SF.
No, I like it. Tom, same question.
A lot like the Lions. This is I won't say make or break week. This is let's see what you're made of week. And I think Jacksonville's got the right quarterback with the right coach leading the way in Doug Peterson. I think the foundation might have been cracked with Brock Purdy. And I'm not sure how much Debo coming back makes that big of a difference. I know he gives them different options, but I don't know. They've done a complete 180 since the beginning of the season. So at home, I like Jacksonville.
All right. Robbie, same question.
I agree with Tom. Kyle Shanahan's an offensive genius. He's got weapons, but he doesn't have the play caller that Doug Peterson has. Doug Peterson has the best play caller in this game and the equal weapons to meet them. So I like Jacksonville.
I hate to say this, but I agree with you guys. Like, I think Jacksonville kind of sneaks up on them here. Brock Purdy is just he's another Alex Smith. He's a serviceable guy. Like, he's not elite. He's good. But again, you start to learn as a defensive coordinator. You watch, you observe, you learn, and you create your defensive scheme around that. And I think we're getting later in the season to where Jacksonville can do that. So I do like that Jacksonville play at +3 at home. All right, moving on. Let's go to you, Robbie. Titans and the Bucs. 1-point favorite. And we got a definitive starter for quarterback, and that is Mr. Will Levis. Now, he's had a little Jekyll and Hyde game. Like, he didn't play terrible against the Steelers, but he didn't play great. What are your thoughts here?
Toughest game of the weekend for me off the bat. Vegas thinks we're better, giving us the just the -1 spread. I wouldn't bet my house on it, but I'll take the Titans.
Which one?
Titans.
Yeah, which house?
Yeah,
The small one in Florida, or which one?
Yeah, well, I would bet. I would bet a house on this. So yeah, yeah.
I'll take that lot off your hands.
But I'll take the Titans -1.
All right. I will reserve my judgment so far. Let's go to Tom next.
Yeah, I think good old Baker Mayfield's peaked. It was a fun story. Week 1 gets the angry run scepter from Cal Brandt and the NFL. Good Morning Football. I think the Lions pretty much pulled their souls out of whatever they had left. Tennessee's got Derrick Henry, and I think this is a game that's heavy run. Weather won't be a factor. I think Willis is going to be a little bit more comfortable another week with the ones. He's shown me some positive signs. Tennessee's going to win by a field goal.
Tom, I love your optimism. I really do.
Wait, Tom, who'd you get? Who'd you pick? Sorry.
It is. He picked the Titans.
Tighten up.
By field goal.
And surprisingly enough, they trade Kevin Byard, and the defenses looked okay. So I don't think you have to be overpowering to beat that.
No,
Tampa
defense
Bay
is
offense.
fine. The problem is our offensive line, which is non-existent and constantly in motion, which is also another problem. So with that said, Raj, who do you like?
This is one of those games where people on earth suffer that watch us. And there's a lot because we tend to get our team's games in the mix. And no one should care about the Raiders and Jets, nor about the Titans and Tampa Bay. So
100% agree.
America, even people I know in India, every other country, I'm very sorry. We are all very, very sorry.
No, just tell them this is a basketball game they should worry about.
Seriously.
Just make them money. That's all we care about.
Yeah,
Well,
just tell. Hey, yeah. God damn it, we don't care if they watch the game. We're making them money.
Then do the opposite. So in game 1, Levis throws 29 times. He looks like Joe Montana. Game 2, he throws 39 times against Pittsburgh. He looks like Baker Mayfield as a rookie or second year. So the question is, will they be able to run the ball? And interestingly enough,
We're talking about the Titans game. Just give us yay or nay.
I mean, it's coming down to the run game. And last week, they only gave the ball to Derrick Henry 17 times. I should just say this. I'm obviously verbose. I don't like white quarterbacks with tattoos. I don't think Baker has a tattoo. So give me Tampa.
He probably does.
Yeah, that's all we need.
It's probably under his
the
pants, and you can't
White
see it.
guy
Tattoo of Jedrick Willis.
Three statements. White guy's tattoo.
Man, you got the Titans, right? You put Titans in that one.
I hadn't picked anybody yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I was thinking it through.
What are your thoughts on guys with tattoos?
White
I have nothing to do with
quarterbacks.
tattoos. I'm talking about people that put mayonnaise in their coffee and eat bananas without peeling the rind. So,
hey, have you seen the?
All that being said,
have you seen the ketchup with kind of mayonnaise now? That since Taylor said that.
No, stop.
No, dude, no.
It's only white.
We have to. We're trying to get away from Taylor and football here, so let's just get away from that. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay wins. Titans we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So I like Tampa Bay. All right, next we're gonna go to you, Rob. The Browns and Ravens. Ravens are giving up 6 at home. Browns defense has been pretty damn good. And like Tom said earlier, this division, if we stopped it today, all of them would be in the playoffs. So what do you think here? Can the sighting of Deshaun Watson bring him back?
No. Give me Baltimore bigly.
Bigly. Is it like bigly, Wrigley? Huge. All right, Tom, let's go to you.
I absolutely do not trust old rub and tug Deshaun Watson. I don't know what it is. I like to judge, and I hate the word judge, but I like to look at players and see their body language. This guy is, whether he completes a nice pass or he fumbles the ball, which he does often, he shows the same emotions. He doesn't have it. And that bothers me at the quarterback position. I think you need to have a quarterback that's fiery and that's not afraid to show the emotion. Deshaun Watson doesn't do it, and it's a shame. Cleveland's defense is phenomenal, but this game's in Baltimore. You saw what they just did to Seattle. I don't know if they put up as many points as they did last week because Cleveland's defense is solid. But I talked earlier about Lamar's ability to complete passes, his pocket pret. This game comes down to his ability to get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. I think they cover maybe 9, maybe a 10-point win.
Love it. Raj, thoughts on this one?
They are teams defenses 1 and 2 in terms of yards allowed. But when it comes to points, Baltimore by far is the best in the NFL at 13.8. It may remind some people of a generational defense in 2001 or 2, whenever it was. That team allowed, I think, 10.3.
That was unreal.
Yeah, that's still – this team is a lot better than people think. You know, it's a no-name defensive line that just sacks everyone and stops the run. But Cleveland's given up 17.4, so about 4 points in between those two. So, for example, between 19.5 points and 21.5 points, there's 12 teams. So that 4 points doesn't sound like much, but that's a big difference. While Cleveland's defense is good, Baltimore's is great.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Baltimore.
Mark Andrews.
Thank you, Rain Man. I'm going to I'm going to also take the Ravens to cover here as well. The Browns, I just don't like them. Anything about them. Nothing about Deshaun. So we're going to segue into our last and final Bet Your Nuts. Oh, we got the Jets. Have you seen Aaron Rodgers on the sideline? He's been 3-step drop over here, like throwing the ball. Somebody was mic'd up and said, "Hey, bro, when you coming back?" He said, "Oh, give me a couple weeks."
Yep, that was Derwin James. Met him at the 50. When you coming back?
Now this is all. Let's be honest. If they make the playoffs, there's a slight chance that he could play in the playoffs. He's not playing this year. Let's get that out of the way. All right. First off, Raj, we're going to come to you. Jets, Raiders, at home in Vegas, +1. Who you like? The shitty Zach Wilson and what they're doing.
Speaking of the great Derwin James, he said this Raider wide receiver is one of the best in the league, and he's just different. And that him was not Devontae. He was talking about Hunter Renfrow. And the Raiders' game plan is to get Renfrow back in. Yeah, he said he's just different, man. He looks like a CPA. All that being said.
Because he's a short white dude?
Who's bald? Yes.
Can you define quick?
Exactly. No. Me blowing my load. No, I'm just kidding. This game's gross. The Raiders and Pierce. I can't ever take the Raiders confidently. The Jets can run the ball, and they have a great defense. So I'll take the Jets 3-2.
We should do true false next time.
That was tough. Robbie, Jets Raiders at home in Vegas.
I am going Raiders.
All right, that's all right. All right, Tom.
What I've
done, Raj, just want.
What I watched Monday night was probably the most pathetic display of quarterback play I've ever seen. Zach Wilson, number 2 pick 2 years ago, is an absolute disgrace. And they keep marching him out there. It's a joke. The Raiders are rejuvenated. Antonio Pierce has got I'm telling you that they look different. Max Crosby was fired up. He was on Pat McAfee's show the other day. He's fired up. They're smoking stogies. Their whole demeanor's changed. I can't think for the life of me why the Raiders are the dog here. This is stupid. Raiders are going to win by 2 touchdowns.
I want to say and believe everything you just said, by the way.
Brandon, what do you got?
Being a Raider fan prevents me from that.
Give me the Jets here. I think the Jets, their defense is good enough, and the Raiders' offense is struggling enough. This is a match made in heaven where I think it's a field goal game. It's going to be close. Both offenses are just atrocious at this point. So it's a war of attrition, and I like the better defense, which is the Jets in this case. So give me the Jets.
Very interesting.
All right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's stupid, probably outside the box. But with that being said, this is reckless speculation, boys, and we're going to go to final words next. All right, Raj. Final words for tonight's NFL show.
I'm taking Tom's thunder here. I am stoked on this Chargers-Lions game. Best offensive line versus 25 sacks on the defensive line. Just 2 cool teams that we don't know anything about playing in LA with teams full of stadium full of Lions fans. And finally, you got Honolulu Blue versus Powder Blue. So don't adjust your TV sets. Everything about this game is going to be fun to watch.
I love it.
And that's exactly it, man. This is going to be fun to watch. Detroit, San Diego. I won't call it.
Love it. Love it. Tom?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say the NFL is king. Week in, week out, it's the talk of the town. If not for what's happening down the road in Ann Arbor, NFL is always key. Well, I'm going to burst a bubble on them, and it's going to start this Sunday morning. German game, the Colts and Patriots. Unbelievable. This is what we're presenting to the world stage. Embarrassing. And we go to the Thursday night game, which will be starting here within the next hour. Panthers, Bears. Are you kidding me? They had an opportunity to flex that game out. They didn't. It gets better. The aforementioned Jets Raiders on Sunday night. This is embarrassing. I'll be watching Dateline on Peacock during that game. And then you have one team that is on primetime almost every week. The Denver Broncos going to Buffalo. This game is going to be an abomination. Hold up. But yet they turn around and they're on Thursday night football again. They got at home against the Vikings. The NFL has to look at these games and realize nobody's watching this crap. Even how good the NFL is, I have to watch games for what we do. I'm not watching these games. You can stick a fork in it. I'm done. And if I'm not watching
drinking at 9 a.m.
I'm watching 2020.
Spoken by a true Detroit fan whose game gets stuck at 10 a.m. Local.
I am a slave to this product. I am waking up at 9 a.m. and drinking.
Yeah, well, we'll watch everything, but I think Amazon has the same discrepancies as you do, Tom, with their whole deal with $78 million a year to the NFL or whatever they're paying.
It's embarrassing.
And just a shit product. It's just been terrible. So
I will be watching better matchups than those 3 games that are in prime time.
I will be watching.
There will, but the first draw when Amazon came out with you had to get Prime only, let's be honest, it was absolutely atrocious. Like every Thursday night game was the worst on the docket.
Raiders and Rams.
And then you get the same thing. Like, like you said, Denver's, highlighted probably 5 times this year, which is just stupid. But anyway, we digress. Final thoughts, Robbie?
Yes. As occasionally I will do, these are my thoughts only and not the thoughts of the show. There was an election night last night, and the will of the people came through, and they very much voted for pro-choice and pro-liberty and women's rights. And like I said, this is my view. It's not our show's view. This is my view. And I'm so proud of people that voted. And keep up the good fight. And a Democrat was elected in Kentucky, which is Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul's same territory, which is amazing to me that a Democrat can win there. And keep voting, keep getting out there to vote, and just keep up the good work.
Ohio passed.
Yes, Ohio.
Marijuana issue 2 passed. They're
Yes.
lighting it up. And Josh Gordon even was quoted today say, "Oh, now that I'm gone, Ohio gets it right."
Yeah, yes, Ohio passed marijuana, and they passed the right to for a woman to choose. So yes, more power.
Ohio's
to
the
you
real
guys.
MVP.
Yes.
Tennessee is 10 years behind the rest of civilization, so we'll be getting weed and the right to abort in 2034.
Hey, when we actually need it and we're like decrepit and like bones and joints are hurting, we're going to need to smoke weed at that
Gummies
point.
are a beautiful
They
thing.
don't care about education, man. Tax it at 30%, fund your schools.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Always
boys.
a pleasure.
Great show. Great NFL breakdown. We'll be back again next week. So check us out, both college and NFL. And thank you guys for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, all the feels over here that Tom's got. What a production he does, by the way. Look at the graphics.
Someone's gonna steal Tom from us for one of these days. They're gonna steal him. He's like, bye. See you guys.
Tom's
later.
not going to have any time to be stolen. He's going back to work. So.
All right, boys. Great show. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing, doing whatever. Till next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation.